everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Alexis Rose and I own The Thriving Maker, which is a platform and community that I share everything in my life that revolves around crafting, handmade business, and pretty much everything in between. In this week's video, I am going to be sharing some of the answers to the most frequently asked questions that I get when people find out that I have a Glowforge or that I've made the upgrade from a Cricut to the Glowforge Pro. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about why I made the decision to buy a Glowforge, how that process has been for me, as well as 5 things that you need to know if you are considering moving from a Cricut to Glowforge, or even if you're just considering adding a laser in general to your repertoire of crafting technology. I hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, if you like today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos like this. So I purchased my Glowforge Pro in June of 2021 and it arrived in July of 2021. So I've been playing around with it for a decent amount of time and I feel like I'm finally in a good place where I can speak about the machine. The reason that I decided to purchase the Glowforge is because around that time I felt like I was in a crafting rut. Nothing that I was making was really inspiring me. I was struggling a lot with motivation and I had always in the back of my head said, one day I'll get a Glowforge and I'll learn to master laser crafting. At that time I had also really gotten good at SVG design, and we're going to talk a little bit about this, but SVG design is really important, especially when you're working with lasers. So I felt like I was in a place where I was ready to make that jump from Cricut to Glowforge. I also just knew that I was ready to kind of step up my game and make products that were very personalized, would last a lifetime, and then I had like a more versatile product blank base that I could work with, where with my Cricut I felt like I was making the same things over and over and there wasn't that much variety. So I was excited to add a Glowforge to my collection and I'm very, very happy that I did. My original idea when I purchased the Glowforge was to make tiered tray decor sets and other holiday and seasonal home decor, but it's evolved into so much more since then, and I have a good handle on laser crafting now, and I'm able to use this product to pretty much make anything that I could imagine, and that's the best part about all of it. I want to share with you 5 things that you need to know if you are considering purchasing a Glowforge, because it is a really big investment, and I think as somebody who's starting as a Cricut or a silhouette crafter who's used to using die cutting machines, electronic die cutting machines, it's really good to know what you're getting yourself into if you're thinking about upgrading to a machine like a Glowforge. The number one thing that you need to know about moving from a Cricut to a Glowforge is that it is not a replacement for your Cricut machine, and this was something I was surprised by. I had originally thought when I purchased the Glowforge that it was going to replace my Cricut. My Cricut would collect dust, I wouldn't use it, I'd probably sell it, but I was very wrong. They are 2 different machines that serve 2 very, very different purposes. Your Glowforge is really for those thicker materials like wood or acrylic, where your Cricut is for vinyl, paper, HTV, you name it. They really serve 2 different purposes. And for me, I had to get out of that mindset that I was just a Glowforge crafter, and when I finally owned it, I started making products, blanks essentially, with my Glowforge that I could then personalize with my Cricut, and it kind of became the best of both worlds. Second thing that you need to know, and some people might agree or disagree with me on this one, is that in order to successfully use Glowforge to the best of its capability, you need to have a basis of SVG design. So you can use SVGs in Cricut Design Space with your silhouette and with so many other machines and platforms like screen printing. In order to be successful with Glowforge, I really believe that you have to have a good understanding of SVG design. Glowforge does have a program that you can exclusively design in, and it runs you about $50 a month. Personally, I didn't like the software, and I think that $50 a month is a little steep when you're paying thousands of dollars for a machine. I kind of think it should be free, but whatever. And the good thing about using a program like Adobe Illustrator or even Inkscape and Affinity Designer, which are both free, you can use those designs in Cricut and in Glowforge, and you can also sell your SVGs. The reason that I think it's so important to understand SVG design is because your Glowforge is capable of doing more than one thing and cutting differently in one cut. And if you're able to design and make different layers and color code parts of your design, you're going to be able to have a much more seamless experience in designing for Glowforge. If you are interested in learning more about how to design SVG files for Glowforge in Adobe Illustrator, make sure that you leave me a comment below letting me know exactly what you want to learn, and I will make sure to cover it in a video. Is that some projects will take hours to engrave, and this was something that I was surprised about. So depending on the complexity of the design that you're doing, the engraved, your settings, I've had projects take over 2 hours to engrave. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing, but what you have to consider is that you need to be near your Glowforge. We'll address this in my next point, but your Glowforge is a powerful, powerful machine, and you can't just like leave it unattended and run to the grocery store. You have to be in a decent proximity from it so you can watch it and make sure that everything is going according to plan. So it's just something to consider. Me personally, as I've grown in my design style, I don't do things that take that long to engrave, but if you're interested in engraving complex pictures or doing deep engraves on thick materials, it's definitely something to consider. I will say on that note, as I've grown and learned in the designing aspect, there are ways to cut the time down, and I can definitely share some of those with you, like I said, if you guys are interested. Fourth thing that you need to know, and I think this goes without saying, is that it is not a child's toy. You are using a laser, which is essentially sending a flame, and it is burning through the materials that you are cutting. So along with just general laser safety, proper ventilation, it's really important that you understand that this is a big, powerful machine. Of course, with a Cricut, you could get hurt. You know, there is a sharp blade, but I think that getting hurt and potentially setting fire to your machine or your home, God forbid, is something that you need to be aware of. And I think it goes without saying that if you're using something that's this expensive, you should be versed in what it takes to operate the machine, have the proper safety equipment on hand. And I will say I've never had an issue. I follow all of the safety protocols, but it's definitely not a child's toy, and it shouldn't be treated as one. The fifth and final thing that you need to know about having a Glowforge or purchasing a Glowforge is the pricing. This is not a cheap machine. It's not a cheap machine. Do I think it's worth it? 100,000% yes. When I bought my machine, I did not know that there were referral codes, and I really wish that I did. So the top of the line machine is the Pro, and that will run you about $6,000. There is the Plus and the Basic. The lower end of that will cost you $3,000, and then I believe the Plus sits around $4,000. I could be mistaken. So if you use my referral link, you will get $500 off of the Glowforge Pro, $250 off of the Plus, and $125 off of the Basic. It's saving money no matter what, so it's definitely something to think about. The price, especially if you are in between what machine you want to purchase. The Pro is going to give you the ability to do oversized materials, like I'm talking over the standard 12 inches tall. You can pretty much do endless projects with that. And the Plus and the Basic, in my opinion, are very, very similar. One doesn't really offer more benefits than the other than a slightly more powerful laser, which in my opinion doesn't really make that much of a difference. If you are interested in using that referral link, I will put it somewhere on the screen as well as in the description below. I hope that you found this video informative. If you have any requests for Cricut or Glowforge videos that I could make, definitely leave them in the comments below. I'm getting lots of questions about Glowforge in general and making that switch from Cricut to Glowforge, and I am happy to help you guys with whatever you need help with. Having a Glowforge is probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, aside from getting engaged and having my son. I mean, I'm totally kidding, but it has up-leveled my crafting game. I have made the cost of the machine back over multiple times already, and I've had it in a very short period of time. I think that the Glowforge is the perfect machine for somebody who is looking to get into lasers and doesn't really know where to start. I hope to upgrade to a big powerful laser one day, but for right now my Glowforge is doing more than enough for me and I just love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and I will see you next time. Bye!